All right, I had the math first, but now it's last. I want to get straight into the list and save the logic for those of us cultured and focused enough to watch the entire video. Do it. No, please, really, do it. Long story short, Sonic equals supersonic speed equals 768 miles per hour, give or take. Boom. So which Pokemon are faster than this? Let's take a look at the Pokédex for every Pokemon that references speed, miles per hour, knots, or even fast objects in some way, and then organize them into one of these 4 categories. Number 1, slower than Sonic. Most Pokemon with any doubt will go here, as Sonic can travel very, very fast, and we're doing him dirty by calling him slower than his top speed anyhow. Number 2, Pokemon as fast as Sonic. While Sonic may beat them with some of his Chaos Emerald abilities or something like that, any Pokemon that can reach the speed of sound will be given my distinction of being as fast as Sonic. Number 3, Pokemon probably faster than Sonic. These Pokemon may need special conditions to beat Sonic, or their evidence is inconclusive. And number 4, Pokemon definitely faster than Sonic. While there aren't many, these Pokemon prove without a shadow of a doubt that under most conditions, they outrace our blue blur for one reason or another. Are you still with me? Great, because it's time to fire off our candidates. Arcanine is one of the most popular examples of this thought experiment, as it's said in Arcanine's Gen 3 Dex entries that Arcanine can cover 6,200 miles. That's 6,200 miles in just one day and night, or 24 hours. That sounds like some insane speed, but unfortunately for our legendary boy, 258 1/3 miles per hour doesn't cut it to beat the chili dog eater. Slower than Sonic. Rapidash is said to gallop at high speeds of 150 miles per hour. That's pretty insane, and it makes sense why this horse is on fire. But it's slower than Sonic, sorry. Doduo races with powerful strides across the meadows at speeds of 60 miles an hour. Sonic would leave this bird in the dust, unlike the little flicky birdie from Sonic Adventure. Yeah, it's hard to believe, but we're going to mention Onix now, as its Pokemon Silver Dex entry states that it can bore through the ground at 50 miles an hour. Boring through the ground, we may crown this guy as a faster spelunker than Knuckles, but definitely not faster than Sonic. Scyther's Pokemon Silver entry states that when it moves, it leaves only a blur. Sounds familiar. And in Pokemon Gold, it says that Scyther moves too fast for the human eye to track. Now we're talking. I won't get too detailed with this because visibility here is relative to the distance your eyes are from the Scyther, but due to about 65 frames per second being the upper limits that a human's visual anatomy can perceive, we're going to say that Scyther is very close to you in moving an astounding 30,000 miles per hour. Wee woo, wee woo. We have our first wee woo alarm of the day. Scyther is an outlier, and we are going to assume that the too fast Dex entry is simply hyperbole. However, it's probably faster than Sonic. Now we can also talk about Scyther's counterpart, Pinsir, and specifically Mega Pinsir.
Pinsir? I hardly know her.
Say, Drake.
Mega Pinsir flies at speeds of approximately 30 miles an hour according to its Pokemon Moon Dex entry. Now we're comparing to Tails with the flying. What's going on? Maybe these Pokemon can keep up with Sonic's pals, but not with our werehogging, eggnogging, fast jogging.
I'm in danger!
Gyarados, well, actually again, Mega Gyarados, specifically in Moon's Pokédex, states that it streaks above the water at, oh my gosh, supersonic speed. I love how direct, punctual, and easy they made that for me. As fast as Sonic. You know, Gen 7 really helped our cause here with some very specific Dex entries all around. Like this one in Ultra Moon for Kabutops that says it swims at speeds of roughly 29 knots, which is equivalent to about 33 1/3 miles per hour. This has gotta be slower than Sonic, even for swimming. And now we get to the first crossover location of our video, that being the power plant. This level and OST from Sonic Heroes goes so hard. And of course, all the way back in Generation 1 Pokemon, we could find Zapdos here. But we're not going to talk about normal Zapdos today for all of you Gen 1ers out there. No. We're going to talk about Galarian Zapdos. Any of you who remember chasing this thing down in Gen 8 know how annoyingly fast it is. And the Dex seems to agree. In Pokemon Shield, the Dex states that Zapdos runs through the mountains at over 180 miles per hour. Thunderous, but not as fast as Sonic. Hey, quick shout out to Johto for being the slowest generation by average speed stat. These guys are not going to do well at the Pokathlon with their average base 70 in speed. And to all of you who are surprised by that, the Ultra Beasts really helped out the rest of the Alola Pokemon. Raikou, however, seems to be the antithesis of what I just said. As ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves another Wee-Woo alert. Wee-Woo, Wee-Woo, Wee-Woo! Several of Raikou's dex entries say that it embodies the speed of lightning. Contrary to popular belief, the speed of lightning and the speed of light are very different, with lightning being very slow in comparison. However, lightning still moves from sky to ground at about 270,000 miles per hour. And while that is definitely faster than Sonic, we've got to sound the wee-woo alarm for an outlier here. But as we're dealing with a legendary here, I think we'll be nice to the old saber-toothed cat and call it probably faster than Sonic. Moving on to Gen 3 and starting with Swampert, whose Pokemon Emerald Dex entry states that it swims as fast as a jet ski. That's oddly specific and pretty fast, as your above-average jet ski could reach speeds of 80 miles per hour or more. However, this is definitely slower than Sonic. Linoon has to be a contender because of that dastardly belly drum extreme speed combination, no? Well, its Pokemon Sapphire Dex tells us that all that speed equates to a 60 miles per hour running pace. By Earth standards, that's unbelievably fast for a mammal, but by the standards Dr. Eggman is used to going up against, that's child's play. Definitely slower than Sonic. Okay, this will be a good one. Ninjask's whole motif is speed, no? A ninja Pokemon that's best competitive use is the ability Speed Boost. Well, folks, time to sound the wee-woo alarm. Wee-woo! Like Scyther, we have another bug brother in arms that apparently moves so quickly it becomes unseeable or almost invisible, according to multiple Gen 4 Dex entries. For some reason, though, I believe it more with Ninjask than I do with Scyther. So even in the face of the almighty wee-woo, I'm going to crown Ninjask probably faster than Sonic. The exponential growth of the Speed Boost ability after every turn, it couldn't possibly take it too long. Hard numbers, people. We need hard numbers. Now, we'll group these next two into one because Electrike and Magnetric both move at the same speed as lightning striking, according to multiple Dex entries. And we've doubled down on the wee-woo alarms 2 in a row, baby. Bang! Bang! Wee-woo, wee-woo! While I believe in the power of electricity in the Pokemon world, these are little dog boys. They'd burn something up if they moved that fast. Come on. But for the sake of our previous lightning calculation of 270,000 miles per hour, we'll call these guys probably faster than Sonic. This one hurts for some reason, though. These are just dogs. At least Raikou was a legendary. Now we get to Sharpedo, who is an interesting case, because now we kind of have to consider what terrain Sonic is running on. Sonic doesn't seem to like water so much, and Sharpedo's Dex entries from several games state that it can reach top speeds of 75 miles per hour in water. That's insanely fast, and might even be faster than Sonic in water. So we'll call this one a wash. Metang is a silly one, and it's surprising to me that we're even talking about it, but in Pokemon Emerald, Metang's Dex states that it flies at over 60 miles per hour. Impressive and dangerous, slower than Sonic. But we have another flyer among us, and this one means business. Latios, in multiple Dex entries, is said to fly faster than jet planes. Now, there are a lot of different types of jet planes, but if we assume this is Latios' max speed, we can calculate faster than a jet plane to be about 600 miles per hour. Blazing quick and cause for concern over the 10-year-olds I saw flying over Hoenn on that thing, but somehow still slower than Sonic. Now, a different kind of jet, Empoleon is said to swim as fast as a jet boat in Pearl, which is about the same as a jet ski, say 80 miles per hour. Slower than Sonic, but definitely could be a faster swimmer. Garchomp, yes, our boy Garchomp, does not run as fast as Sonic, does not swim as fast as Sonic, but according to Brilliant Diamond, flies, yes, flies at Sonic speed. I don't care what anyone says. Cynthia agrees, Garchomp is as fast as Sonic. Give him the fly to HM. Just going to really quickly bring up Shaman too, as it's really the closest thing to Sonic we've got in Pokemon, although it's pretty slow. I really wish that Shiny Shaman was a Sonic Blue though. Would have been sick. Hedgehog Shiny. Anyhow, Archeops is known for its lackluster ability in Defeatist, and I've gotta say, I'm less than impressed with this Dex entry from Sword, saying that it not only needs a running start to take off, but needs to run at 25 miles per hour first if it wants to fly. A lot of dex entries state that it's a better runner than a flyer too, which is all around definitely slower than Sonic. Come on. Golurk. Wait, Golurk? Golurk has a speed entry? Golurk feels like it'd be slow, but then I guess there's that one Pokemon movie with the shiny Golurk flying around. So let's take a deeper look. Whoa. Okay, even in its debut generation in Pokemon Black, we learned that Golurk flies across the sky at Mach speeds. Mach speed is the same as the speed of sound, otherwise known as supersonic speed. So oddly enough, in at least one sense, Golurk is as fast as Sonic. Tornadus, and more specifically, Tornadus incarnate form, zooms through the sky at 200 miles per hour according to its Pokemon Black dex entry. Apparently, this is fast enough to cause severe storms, but unfortunately, it's not even 1/3 of the speed it needs to be faster than Sonic. Reshiram is quite cool, another Pokemon with weather controlling abilities in its bag according to the Pokédex. Sword's Pokédex states that it flies through the sky like a jet airplane, so we'll tie it with Latios at 600 miles per hour. Quite impressive, not quite Sonic speed. Now we get to Charizard. You may be wondering why I went out of order on this one, but I couldn't just come out firing with this one, so we saved it for Gen 6 when Charizard gets his Mega Stones. While we've had several examples in the decks of a jet airplane with Latios and Reshiram, Mega Charizard Y specifically gives us our first specific instance of a jet fighter. This, beyond a shadow of a doubt, puts Mega Charizard Y's estimated speeds at 1,650 miles per hour. Insane for a Pokemon with a base 100 speed stat. Absolutely insane. And I'm gonna say it. Over a sustained period of time, running across a great distance and not just in short bursts, Mega Charizard Y has got this race in the bag. Give me the Jet Fighter long term in this one specific case. Mega Energy and everything, whatever on Charizard's side, it's faster than Sonic. Skipping ahead to Gen 7, Zygarde's 10% form specifically in Pokemon Moon is said to run across the land at speeds greater than 60 miles per hour. That's probably slower than the gun truck from City Escape, so definitely slower than Sonic. Zeraora is... Whoa, our last wee-woo alarm of the video. And yet another Raikou-like example is Sword's Dex entry claims it runs as fast as lightning strikes. Listen, at least it was literal here, so it's got more going for it than Raikou did, and definitely more than Electrike and Electrike did. 270,000 miles per hour would be pretty dang fast though. I also like the mythical vibe here, makes it feel more possible. So just for the mythical status, I'm going to say that Zeraora is probably faster than Sonic. Boltund quite literally has its top speed listed in its Shield Dex entry, capping the Zappy Wolf Boy at 50 miles per hour. Yawn. Carkol doesn't necessarily run, it just kind of rolls, but apparently it rolls at 18 miles per hour. Kind of fun, but definitely not rolling like a Sonic pinball. Nowhere near the amount of style either. Barraskewda is fast. We've all seen the Swift Swim equations. Shield and Violet's Dex entries both state that it swims at speeds over 100 knots. That's 115.08 miles per hour. I am confidently going to say that it's a faster swimmer than Sonic, and confidently say that Sonic has got it beat on the ground because, no legs. If that Orca from Emerald Coast and Sonic Adventure was a Barraskewda, I'm not so sure Sonic gets away. That's all I'm saying. While Barraskewda is not a running fish, Dracovish is somehow a running fish. And not one to scoff at either. Shield's Dex entry says its mighty legs are capable of running at speeds exceeding 40 miles per hour. And it does it while holding its breath. The flex wasn't necessary, bro, especially when you're way slower than Sonic. Cyclizar will be the only Gen 9 Pokemon we go over in detail here, as Violet's Dex states that it can sprint at over 70 miles per hour while carrying a human. Let's go ahead and give it another 20 miles per hour or so if it's not being weighed down. So no matter how you look at it, he's still got nothing on Sonic. Here's to hoping future generations shed some more light on the literal speed of our new Gen 9 friends, said everyone ever. Now, we're out of Pokemon faster than Sonic by looking at Dex entries alone, so it's math time.
Mathematical! What?
And yes, I'm fully ready for the retention on this video to go down the drain, but we press on anyway.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry in advance for how silly this video is about to get. I have no idea what mood I was in that night.
We need to do the best we can to convert the speed stat in Pokemon to miles per hour in the real world with a proper equation. First, we'll use every Pokédex entry specifically mentioning miles per hour.
So we got everything here on this Google sheet. Every Pokemon, and then the miles per hour, the speed stat, and the ratio of the miles per hour to the speed stat. If we go over, we look at the calculations, we see that out of all the Pokemon that's listed with an actual miles per hour, the ratio is about 0.9, so it's pretty much the same miles per hour to speed stat, which is ridiculous. But then when we go to the ones that give like a jet engine or something like that, we see that section 2 results in a ratio of 8.1. And when we go to those outliers, like Raikou, like Electrike, and all those guys, the ratio just blows up completely. So, to be honest with you, it gets a little ridiculous. And if we look at an actual graph that's gonna try and give us the correlation here and try and see some sort of pattern, whether it be via generation, there's really no pattern here. Nothing makes sense. This is all stupid.
Final hypothesis. I don't see any clear correlation on this scatter chart or anything, so it would be irresponsible of me to continue to try and calculate based on miles per hour in the Pokédex, ratio to speed stat alone, or anything like that. But, because I'm sure you all were hoping for it, here's a rapid fire list of Pokemon that would most likely be able to hold their ground in a race with the blue blur based off stats alone. Our very own Pokemon Speed Rap. Regieleki, Deoxys Speed, Ninjask, Pheromosa, Mega Alakazam, Electrode, Aerodactyl, Deoxys, Calyrex Shadow, Zacian Crown, Mega Beedrill, Mega Sceptile, Zeraora, Excelgor, and Mega Mewtwo Y, Zacian Hero, Zamazenta Hero, Barraskewda, Iron Bundle, Mega Man Netric, Mega Lopunny. As you can see, there are a lot of debates to be had about how much the Pokédex and base stats line up with everything. It's all quite interesting to think about. Now, as promised from earlier, how did we actually settle on a speed for Sonic to use for the purposes of this video? Well, let's convert Sonic's speed into real-world miles per hour, or kilometers per hour for you classy metric people. We could end the video here and say Sonic has been traveling at light speed, or 670,616,629 miles per hour, but that would be lame, way faster than all Pokemon, so let's get more realistic. If we were using real-world Earth science on the blue blur, we could take into account air resistance, heat from friction, G-forces on his body, energy requirements, and the impact on the terrain that Sonic would be running on. Universe Sandbox 2 is a good game to demonstrate how even a grain of sand moving at light speed can cause some serious damage.
That's a lot of damage!
But with all that considered, and the fact that the fastest land animal on Earth, the cheetah, runs at top speeds of 70 miles per hour or 113 kilometers per hour, we could give Sonic a generous 200 miles per hour cap or something like that. Even that speed would take extreme biological efficiency, advanced technology, or more likely some sci-fi physics baked into our equations. But I think I'm being a bit too realistic and stingy there, especially as we've talked about Pokemon. We've been comparing him to another set of fictional characters not rooted in reality, except for Klefki. Yep, you're literally just the keys I walk to my car without every Sunday morning, buddy. Nonetheless, let's give the heroic Hedgehog a buff based on one more observation we can make: his name. At Sonic's top speed, we see examples of him breaking the sound barrier, so we've used that as our benchmark for today's video. That would be 767, 768, give or take, miles per hour, or 1,235 kilometers per hour. Keep in mind, this is fast enough to circumnavigate the Earth in under a day. But wait, yes you, keen viewer, you must be thinking, how could Sonic run around the world if the Earth is flat? And I wish I had enough subs to let Simon Dan explain it for you. Now that I'm just spewing a bunch of random stuff and regurgitating a bunch of my prep for this video, might as well hit a few honorable mentions, right? Like Solgaleo and Lunala. They're slower than the fastest Pokemon, I guess, but we've got to consider the fact that they fly through ultra space at the speeds that they do. Really, we could include all Ultra Beasts and teleporting Pokemon, as if you can just go from here to there instantly, then isn't that some Chaos Emerald type space manipulation or whatever? I guess we're getting into some higher level conversations about speed and life beyond the third dimension. Maybe we'll do that in another video, but it's time to stop. If we've learned one thing today, don't mess with the blue blur's speed stat. Keep in mind, the purpose of this video is to have fun. I'm aware that A, Pokédex entries are not end-all be-all and may just be the fictional storytelling of a 10-year-old protagonist. B, speed stats are not always indicative of raw top speed and are sometimes representative of a Pokemon's reaction time, agility, or quickness. C, all my math will break down completely for some Pokemon if you use their Pokédex entries to debunk the equations. And D, I am not a proper data analyst. Pokemon data is really difficult to track down and organize across over 1,000 different Pokemon. Also, as we went over earlier with the scatter plot, there's not a lot of pattern to work with here, and it seems like a lot of the rules in this universe are handed out pretty willy-nilly. Nonetheless, I will continue to pick every little bit of it apart in future videos and compare it not only to the real world, but also other fictional worlds that I have known and loved ever since the first time I picked up a GameCube controller. Yes, I'm old, and no, I'm not faster than Sonic. But wait, those are all just theories. Game! Oh, wait, wrong channel. Sorry. Can't have Overlord Matt Pack coming after us. Anyway, here's Caden testing out which Pokemon in Smash are faster than Sonic for this video.
Which one's gonna be faster?
Probably Mewtwo. I don't know which one's faster!
What do you mean you don't know which one's
I died again!
Are these all level 1?
No, they're only level 3.
You're trash.
I know.
Wow.
No! Ah!